So we are off to Dave's and get these Grand Hauler chassis rails drilled, and then we can move on to the next phase of that. There we go, one Grand Hauler and rails. Let's go. I'll do, guys. So I've got the chassis rails all drilled, tapped and everything. I haven't completed the full drilling of the rails and I haven't done every hole. Like, I've left some on the top. I'm unsure on tanks at the minute, and I haven't drilled that in because I'm going to go for like a metal slider plate. So hole mountings might be different, and the last thing I want are unnecessary holes that aren't going to be used. So the rest of the drilling of the chassis is going to be as I go along. But at the minute, I have the axles mounted, the servos, they're not in there yet, but the holes have been drilled for those. We've got the rear suspension, the cross members all drilled and tapped. So there is just the floor plan, the tanks and the steps to do as of the moment. The body, I ain't going to be mounting it via the mounting holes here to the floor plan. I'm going to probably use some of this box tubing that I'm just holding the cab up with and put some of that along the inside of the cab so it sits against the floor plan, and then put some earth magnets in there or something just to lock that cab down. It's not going to be moving fast, or it's not going to be going over rough terrain or anything like that, so it's not going to shake off the magnets, and it would be well like in place once it's on there. As far as the body goes, it's been fun, but it's been like deciding one thing and then changing against that plan and then doing it and then not doing it, and it's knowing what you want. But I think I'm there and I know what I do want. I originally set it out to be a W900 Kenworth, so I am sticking with that, like the 1995 era of Kenworth, and this now is stretched. And the original chassis rails are here on the table, and they actually come up from the back to about the door hinges. So basically you've got like the hood, which is, hang on a minute, it's like a 5-inch extension, thereabout. So the roof, the little panel that takes the 5 bezels on there, well there's actually 3 in this separate roof part that goes in. I've glued that in, filled that, smoothed that out. I wasn't going to bother having the light bezels at all, but I've decided I am going to keep those and the horns, and I am to have 10 spare from my King Hauler Rusty, which I never used. And I have another 5 in another load of King Hauler parts I got. So I will be putting 9 of those along that roof, and the spare one Rusty can have right in the centre, just for like character. The air intake, I've filled those holes in and smoothed around where the air intake goes, because as I said previously, I have these Lesu ones with the light bezels down, but they do not have the air pipe, so we don't need that anymore. I've decided to do away with the lights on the arch, the little amber markers. So I've smoothed the arches out, flushed them in. I've removed all the rivets from around the cab and the doors, it was full of rivets down the bonnet, and you had like the line which you get on the Peterbilt, so I've removed that, so it's more Kenworth now. All the mounting holes have been filled, and any other like body lines I don't want, like the ones down the sleeper, there's a couple here just along up to the door, and there's lines which run along the bottom of the door. I've filled those in and smoothed them as well. Basically, because once the roof is attached to the sleeper, you're going to have lines which come to a stop. So, my personal opinion, it's going to look better flush. And I've removed the chin-up bars from the side, because why the hell you would have grab rails up there when there's nowhere to step up to, nowhere to clamber into, is just pointless to me. So I filled those holes as well, and I won't be having any chin-up bars for doing exercises on there. The roof cap, that's been filled, sanded, filler primed, sanded, filler primed, sanded, maybe 6 or 7 times until I've got a beautiful, nice, smooth finish. Same with the truck. I've filled and primed everything 3 times. The second time they were perfect, but I've just done a third to make sure. So that's just going to all want smoothing off again. Now looking at it, I don't know what it's like from the angle of the camera there, but because I've got the lowriders at the rear and I'm running the normal roadie wheels at the front, it's dropped the back. Now I'm using the GPM axle, and I have seen you can get a lowering axle which lowers your truck by 1 centimetre. Now I've measured the gap between the tyre and the top of the arch, and that is just a little over 1 centimetre. So if I get that lowering axle, that's going to drop me to about there, straighten up the truck, and it's just going to look so much better. But before I fork out any more money and do that, I am going to try and remove a leaf, see if I get any more droop on it, and then remove another leaf and see if I can't get anywhere playing about with the leaf springs, because I don't want to be drilling any more holes into the chassis and stuff. If that don't work out, then I'll just get the other axle and use this on another custom build. The visor, the grille, the bumper, we already know all this jazz so far. The bolts. I've done away with the stupid Tamiya hex heads, because when do you ever look at a truck and see big Phillips bolts, posi drive nuts, just big ones slapped there in the side of the chassis? You don't. So I've swapped them out, and I've bought various sizes of hex heads, all M3 by 6 by 8 by 10s, and I have some M2s and stuff on order. They're a little more pricey in the M2, but I think it's just so much more worth it for those scale looks. Now I am absolutely loving this build so far, and there's still quite a way to go, but it's progressing much quicker than I expected. Because this build's involving a lot of prep work, it's leaving me time in between to do other things. So I've been cracking on with the tank build, and the videos are there, now on track with that. But I've got Rusty out, and I think we should put Rusty kinda through a change. Not a full restoration as of yet, but I could do with making him look more like a working truck. I take him out like supposedly logging and stuff through the woods and hauling through the woods. So I want to do away with the sleeper cab on him and make him into a day cab. And I just think it'll be so much more suited for Rusty being a day cab. And not only that, I'd like to use the sleeper off Rusty to chop up and put some of it under this sleeper, so I can bring the sleeper down more and make this sleeper lower. So there's still lots of work to do there. I have the twin headlamp conversion to do. The interior, I'm not going too mad with the interior, but I do need to build something in the back so I can get the MFC and everything else in there. I've got a bridge and a double drive output to go in on this crossmember, so I'll be using the original prop there and then just putting a smaller one in up to the planetary box, which I'll have set up there when that comes. And I was thinking of adding smoke as well, Now, I used to mess about building model railways, and you can get little smoke kits for them, which would probably fit into a stack exhaust. Now, they are sleuth um, smoke kits for trains, basically. I'll try and find some on the internet, and I'll drop a link to those in the description, because they're good for converting your own stacks into smoking stacks. Or unless you've got a smoke generator with the pipes, then that's fine. It's just kind of sticking to what you know in a way. This, it's very sheeny shiny. I know what colour I'm going paint wise. I've decided that it's just, what do I have painted within the chassis? Do I keep my upgrade parts all in this nice shiny aluminium, like the axles and the axle housings, the front axle, the cross members, everything? The only thing plastic on this truck at this moment in time, apart from the cab, is that fifth wheel plate and these little plastic things behind the shocks, as well as the arches. The tanks, they're plastic. They're possibly going to be swapped out for some aluminium ones later down the line, but I'm thinking of actually stripping the chrome off those and colour coding them to the truck. So there is very, very little plastic left on it, and especially once I've got all the upgrade parts chucked back on, there's going to be a lot more metal on there. Didn't intend for this to turn out this way when I first originally started it. I just thought it'd be nice to build a Grand Hauler, and then this happened. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at the moment with this one. So I do thank you for watching and listening to me waffle on about this project. But as you can imagine, it's not only exciting for me, but it's probably going to be quite exciting for a lot of yous than seeing the usual just Euro trucks being built up and stuff like that. Because we're getting a bit more, I don't know, creative with this one, shall we say, and creating something ourselves rather than just what we've been handed to via an instruction manual. So, again, thanks for watching. I really appreciate every one of you, and do feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section. I do try and get back to all of you, and yeah, give the video a like, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, then you can stay notified of any future videos that I bring out. If they're not of interest to you, ignore the notification. But yeah, that's it. Ciao for now, guys.